Let's not waste any time, huh? A lot is happening very quickly, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. And I'm going to try to cover as much as I can, as quickly as I can, so that we're all caught up. So, the Strait of Hormuz has reopened. Why has it reopened? Well, it hasn't really. The gist of it is that, as you all recall, Pakistan brokered a ceasefire between the United States and Iran that was petitioned by the United States. Iran agreed to the ceasefire, but only on a set of conditions that Trump agreed to, and then later said that he didn't agree to. It was the difference between the 15-point peace plan that the United States wanted and the 10-point peace plan that Iran wanted. These two peace plans had very little in common because Iran's peace plan involved, among other things, reparations, regional autonomy, and an end to Israeli aggression in the region. So, a lot on the table there, right? Despite not agreeing on which peace plan they were doing, the ceasefire thus far is held, by which I mean that Israel has continued to bomb the ever-living shit out of Lebanon, but at the moment, not much is happening in Iran. So it's kind of held. Anyway, along with the ceasefire kind of holding, Iran has insisted that the only way the strait is going to reopen is if Lebanon stops getting the shit bombed out of it, which, as you might know, Lebanon is currently getting ethnically cleansed. It's a full-on genocide in the south of Lebanon. Over 1 million people have been displaced, and Israel is systematically bombing civilian settlements and preparing to set up their own so they can illegally occupy that territory. It's just full-on Lebensraum, Nazi invasion. It's the same shit Russia did to Ukraine, really bad stuff. So, with all that in mind, Iran has been insisting that Israel fucking stop. And Trump listened to Iran, which is kind of crazy because it indicates that the president of the United States took orders on how to dictate the behavior of an ally from Iran. But, and there are a lot of Truth Social posts, so you'll forgive me for skipping over some of them as I get to this very important one. The USA will get all nuclear dust created by our great B-2 bombers. What he's saying is that there is a version of this peace plan potentially that could involve, for a great deal of money, Iran giving up some of its refined uranium. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. This is not true. This deal is in no way subject to Lebanon either, but the USA will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Enough is enough. Thank you. So I think the subtext here is pretty obvious, right? The United States stuck its dick in the Chinese finger trap of the Strait of Hormuz, and we didn't know how to get it out. Iran has told us what we need to do, which is we need to fucking listen to them. And for a month and a half, the administration has obstinately refused to do so. But now, finally, it seems this has gotten through to Trump. Somebody has made it clear to Trump that the only way to unfuck the Strait of Hormuz is with Iran's permission, and the only way that Iran is going to let that happen is if the United States tells Israel to stop, genociding Lebanon. So now here we are. It's worth noting that Israel is probably not going to abide by this, and there are a million inconsistencies in the proposed peace deal. There are inconsistencies in the peace plan offered by the United States and Iran. There are disagreements as to what exactly is going to happen, who's going to get paid for what reparations are going to get paid, what limitations there are going to be in Israel's behavior. But there is one underlying truth, which I think was best laid out in the title of this guest essay published to the New York Times. The war is turning Iran into a major world power. And it did. And it has. Iran has unambiguously dictated the terms of American engagement with its ally, nominally ally, Israel. This is unprecedented and unbelievable. Like a decade ago, this would be unthinkable. Iran getting to dictate the terms of our engagement with Israel. But, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. More falling empire shit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is this cope though? They're still stuck economically? No, not really. Listen, Iran isn't doing great, but they still control the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, right now, they still control the strait because the newly opened strait By the way, there's still a blockade. The newly opened strait is not through the main waterway, as I understand it, but rather through the sub-waterway that runs directly next to Iran. Let me show you on a map. Maritime traffic. The reason for this is because there's some question as to whether or not Iran has actually mined the strait. I don't think we have a consistent answer on this, but the pathway that Iran has opened, if I'm understanding correctly, and forgive me if I'm not, but I believe that I am, is this pathway right here. The Strait of Hormuz used to refer to this big open section right here where boats would pass through freely. Now they still can if they want, but I think it's kind of an open question as to whether or not this section has been mined. So what ships have been doing is moving through here. You might notice that this is a much smaller strait. A much smaller section of water, which also runs directly next to Iran, is incredibly defensible. And like still represents a massive shift in the power dynamic towards Iran, you know? I could jump across that? Yes, you could jump across that. That is true. It's still blockaded, though? Well, yes, the United States is still holding its blockade on Iranian ports. So it's still saying, by it I mean the United States, that they will be preventing ships going to or from Iranian ports from moving through. Trump has said that he's doing this until the final terms of the peace agreement are solidified. Now, the problem with this, or one of the many problems with this, is that all of it is fake. So speculative oil prices are down. The market is up. But nothing has actually changed here, at least not yet. And the reason nothing has changed, I guess that's why they mined it to widen it. No. The idea of them ambiguously mining this region is that if any ships want to move through safely, they have to move through here, through this little section right here. It gives Iran disproportionately high level of control over ships moving through. It also makes it a lot easier for them to target. This stretch of water is narrow enough that you can visibly confirm if ships are moving through it. You don't need any fancy tracking equipment. If you wanted to fire a drone or some kind of rocket or even a conventional weapon, like a handheld weapon, or if you wanted to board a ship with like a motorboat or something, you could do it way easier if you were doing it from this chunk right here, as opposed to this one. You get me? Oh, look, Hormuz Island, for which the whole thing is named, I assume. Anyway, are they not going on the other side of the island? Oh, you mean the ships are moving here and then through this section? That could be correct. It might be that this is the choke that I'm thinking of and not this one. That might be the case, yeah. Okay. That would make sense because it's Hormuz Island. Either way, the point remains the same. But yes. When you zoom in, you realize how wide it really is. Yeah, this chunk of water, this passageway right here is like 20 miles wide, I think, something like that. Yeah, thereabouts. I think the navigable portion of it is about 20. Now the navigable portion is like a couple miles wide. Anyway. The problem here is that all of this is fake. Didn't you hear Trump renamed it the Strait of Iran? He did do that. Trump did refer to this as the Strait of Iran, which is pretty funny. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Might as well be. Yeah, nowadays, seriously. This article has a good visualization on the change in traffic if you scroll down. I love visualizations. It's so much easier than reading. Before war, after Iran retaliation. These am I blind? These look like the same image to me. Hello? Am I move the line? Am I missing a move the line? I don't know. It's not one of those where you can move the line to and fro. It's two separate images. See? Works on mobile, not on desktop. Well, that sounds contrary. I'm sure there's just some element of it that's broken here. But whatever the case may be. Guess you don't get to see it? Yeah, I guess not. They realized that was content stealing. Iran said Friday it fully reopened the Strait of Hormuz, half-truth, to commercial vessels, but Trump said the American blockade on Iranian ships and ports will, quote, remain in full force until Tehran reaches a deal with the United States, including on its nuclear program. So again, like, all of this is extremely tentative. I think a couple of things are going to blow this up. For one, I don't think Trump understands what he's given Iran, and he's going to regret it, and then he's going to break the deal, and then Iran is going to go right back to doing what it was doing. And for two, I don't think Israel is physically capable of not killing people. They have already broken the ceasefire. They have already bombed Lebanon since this deal went through. So listen, man, if this turns into like real beefing between America and Israel, all's the better. Okay? More like, I mean, much as I hate to envision a near future, an almost inevitable future, I fear, where, you know, Senator Chuck Schumer condemns Trump for being insufficiently defensive towards Israel, but, you know, I have a feeling the conflict is going to restart. WTI is crashing through the floor because of this news. Yeah, of course it is. This is, keep in mind that, like, what is happening right now is a direct product of a quote-unquote Pakistani ceasefire brokerage that the United States pushed them into. Remember when the president of Pakistan posted on Twitter that call for a ceasefire that was the original version of the tweet was formatted as though somebody had given it to the president of Pakistan? Do you remember that? That was only a couple of days ago. Yeah, for the Pakistan PM. Oh, PM, not president, yes. For Pakistan's prime minister. He tweeted that. Anyway, this whole thing is the attempted payoff from the United States. It is done to lower the price of oil. Keep in mind, this isn't going to have much of an effect on the immediate spot price because, of course, the physical scarcity of petroleum and its derivatives is still down, even if the strait was reopened today and everything stayed the same. It didn't close again. The war was truly done. A significant amount of damage has been done to, you know, petroleum refineries. Many oil wells have been shut down. They're no longer producing, which is it's a difficult process to get them back up. LNG, the Qatari LNG facility, the biggest one in the world, has still experienced significant damage that'll take years to repair. There's still a lot on the table here. Years to reconnect. Anyway, the particulars on the ceasefire are probably going to come down to 1, reparations, 2, a complete and permanent end to Israeli hostility in the region, and 3, what gets done with the enriched uranium that Iran is holding on to. Iran Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi posted on X the crucial waterway through about which 20% of the world's oil is shipped is now fully open to commercial vessels as a 10-day truce between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon appeared to hold. Parentheses, no. I mean, Israel immediately broke it, of course. Iranian media challenges announcement about Strait of Hormuz. 2 semi-official news agencies in Iran seemed to challenge Araghchi's announcement about the strait. The Fars news agency issued a series of posts on Twitter criticizing what it said was a lack of clarity over the decision to reopen the waterway and a strange silence from the Supreme National Security Council negotiating team. That's interesting. I wonder if there's any infighting or how much infighting there is in Iran right now. Why does the U.S. care so much about this buried nuclear material? Is this real or just a Trump obsession? Well, I think to some extent it's a legitimate desire to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons, but also I think it's a spiritual concession to Israel. Since the nominal reason for our aggression against Iran was their nuclear material, giving up while leaving them their enriched uranium, albeit buried underground, is like, I think more of a concession than the United States might be willing to offer. It makes us look too weak, so we're trying to be a stickler on that point. Anyway, who knows how things are going to go out, man? I really have no idea. I feel like this is going to fall apart. I have no idea how long it's going to take to fall apart. Keep in mind the enriched uranium is worth like 100 million. Yes, but Trump is offering to unfreeze about 40 billion to Iran. It's funny because back in the day, Obama got a lot of flack for, during the signing of the JCPOA, offering to unfreeze about, what was it, $400 million to Iran. But Trump has just opened up like, what, 80 times that? Phenomenal stuff. They got so mad at Obama for this. Yep. Anyway.
The Iranian foreign minister on X says that the Strait of Hormuz is open for all commercial vessels. We're just learning this right now. Let me read where we are getting this from X. The foreign minister saying, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire on coordinated routes as already announced by ports and maritime organizations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. But this is a huge announcement coming from the Iranian.
Here we go. You've provided a fixed version of that New York Times graphic. There we go. There's the choke. See? This was how people moved through the Strait of Hormuz before the war, and now this is where they're being forced to move, in this little narrow passageway. This is going to back up like crazy once full traffic resumes, however long that takes.
and foreign minister about what has become a central part of the negotiation, getting the Strait of Hormuz open and safely. And so we're going to bring you much more as we get this in, literally coming in as we're talking about. As we are getting this, we also have a new report that
I like her dress.
Claims the United States is also considering a $20 billion deal that would help to end the conflict. This is a report from Axios, co-written also by CNN political and global affairs analyst.
121 tankers heading back to the U.S. as well. You mean the empty tankers, or do you mean full?
Ravid. Let me read a quote from this reporting now coming in. The U.S. and Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war, with one element under discussion being that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium.
$20 billion. That's what? How many Shahid drones is that? 20 per million, 20,000. So 400,000 Shahid drones. Or thereabouts.
This according to 2 U.S. officials and 2 additional sources briefed on the talks. A lot of breaking news here. Let's
oh my
get to
God,
Nick
CNN.
Robertson.
I fucking hate you so fucking much. I fucking despise you, dude.
Nick,
why the fuck
can't
you fix your fucking audio? What the fuck is wrong with you? Your company is worth 50 fucking billion trillion dollars and you can't fucking fix your fucking audio for the fucking... Oh my God, dude. Are you kidding me? Twice in 60 seconds? I'm gonna lose my shit. Good thing I have an Axios article that discusses the points they're about to talk about. Oh my God, dude. Jesus Christ. U.S. and Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war, with one element under discussion being that the United States would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium, according to 2 U.S. officials and 2 additional sources briefed in the talks. Are they Iranian or U.S. officials? It's not even that bad to you, Spaz. It's not difficult for a massive fucking multimedia news company to remove fucking static bursts from its YouTube uploads. That's an insanely easy thing to do. You're really gonna downplay that? A YouTuber with 1,000 subscribers would be embarrassed to release anything with that level of audio hiccup, and we're just accept that's just the norm? Jesus Christ. In shitification of everything, man. Yeah, VTubers are better quality. Are you implying that VTubers aren't like typically some of the most high production value YouTubers out there? Apparently, Axios has been getting more unreliable because they've just started publishing anything anyone briefs them on. They've always been like that. But in this case, everyone's talking about this deal. According to 2 sources, the U.S. was ready in an earlier stage of the negotiations to release $6 billion for Iran to purchase food, medicine, and other humanitarian supplies. The Iranians demanded $27 billion. Meanwhile, the U.S. asked Iran to agree to ship all of its nuclear material to the U.S., while the Iranians only agreed to downblend it inside Iran. So they haven't agreed on anything, man. Yeah, this is a very temporary ceasefire, in my opinion. We'll see if the Strait of Hormuz stays open or not. I'm sure that the markets are really happy about this, but like, it seems like Iran and the United States haven't agreed on anything, really. Like, seriously, nothing. Apparently, Iran won't let cargo through from enemy nations. Iran's conditions for ships allowed through the Strait of Hormuz. Only commercial vessels are permitted, no military ships or cargo linked to hostile countries. Okay. Definition: ships must use routes designated by Iran, all transit to be coordinated with Iranian authorities. So even by the standards of this ceasefire, in this reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, it is unambiguously an Iranian checkpoint now. Like, we have given Iran as much control over the strait as Egypt has over the Suez. Well, like we've it's one of the most important corridors in the world, and we've just given it to them. It was not theirs, and now it's theirs. Remarkable. Pool's closed. The IRGC issued an audio clip denying it and calling the negotiators idiots. There might be some infighting right now between the IRGC and the civilian government. IRGC issued a VHF broadcast, which says the Strait of Hormuz is still closed despite the Iranian financial minister and U.S. president, or foreign minister, comments on the contrary. The Sipa Navy, the IRGC Navy, said opening the strait will be at the order of the Khamenei and, quote, not some idiot. But messaging from the Ayatollah has been scarce lately, no? Like, we don't even know if he's alive. This is a single Twitter post with 13 likes, so I'm not going to base anything significant on it. It is possible that the civilian government of Iran is being more conciliatory. I align with the IRGC here, of course. Maximal punishment for the devil state of the West. Israel and America. America, Israel. Israel, America. We'll see. We'll see. Israel says it will keep troops in Lebanon. So even this is a violation of the ceasefire agreement that the Iranian civilian government laid out, because they require not a ceasefire in Lebanon, but rather a complete cessation of hostilities. So Israel keeping their troops there is already a violation of that. I don't think that Israel is going to I don't think Israel is going to let this happen, man. I don't think it's going to be possible. Regional officials report progress. I don't know, like, we can't trust the United States' word on this at all, you know? We can't trust the United States or Israel, and there might be infighting in Iran that makes it difficult to trust the messaging of the civilian government. I have no clue what's going to happen next, guys. No clue. 17 minutes ago, CENTCOM confirmed the blockade continues, ergo Iran's one deal breaker is in effect. Well, we'll see when Iran officially retracts the opening, I suppose. True, the Iranian moderates might be trying to screw the IRGC over a little bit with this. Yeah, but now would be such a bad time to attempt to do that, you know? Like, the IRGC is more, I guess, mobilized than ever. They've been given a good reason to do what they want to do. Even the Iranian civilian population is probably largely in favor of, you know, pulling the screws tighter on the West. Imagine being an Iranian moderate. Imagine being the least vindicated human alive, yeah. I think both sides want to get out of this dick grinder while saving face at the same time. I don't know if they're in as much of a dick grinder as we are. Iran is not as tied to the global economy as we are. They were making more money because they were able to sell more of their oil and at a higher price. Keep an eye on this day by day. We're still dealing with the wake of the quote-unquote Pakistan brokered peace agreement.